Oh, God. Ouch. 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 It hurts, dude. It hurts. Can you give a kiss? He's hurting. Okay, so let's get ready. Say hi. Hi, everyone. No hi? Okay. No hi.
Hello.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Dika. Where are they?
Daddy.
Where's
I won't put my pajamas on.
Where's my Bachu? Where's my sweet baby?
Sadhu, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dika.
She's shy. Oh, Daddy, there's Nana. Is that Nana? There's Nana.
Nana is here. There's Nana.
Look.
There's Nana. Hello, sweetie
Hare
pie.
Krishna.
Hare
Give everyone
Krishna,
fine
Dika.
Hare Krishna.
Give everyone fine kiss, Sadhu. Say Mua.
So sweet, so sweet,
Mwah.
so
Okay.
sweet. Shreya, so Shraddha, so
Sadhu,
sweet.
Nana.
Shraddha, Dika.
Sadhu.
Yes. Anna, Chicago.
Okay.
Chicago.
She also goes to
They're at home. They're not here in Murfreesboro, not in Nani's house, and not in Nanaji's house.
No.
They're in Chicago, in their father's house, in their papa's house, in their mama's house.
Papa's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell everyone we're going to put pajamas on, then join Nana for puja upstairs, okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
Here comes the other one. Okay.
Where is she?
She's coming, walking down.
Sweet boys.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
7:30 now? No, not yet. Who's leading the kirtan today?
Me.
Okay, Vishwachana Prabhu. Okay. Okay, Prabhu, it's time. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dina Namo Vishnupanaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dina Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Desha Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachar Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshana Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gauraka Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gauraka Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Jaya Radha Natvar Radha Natvar Radhe 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 Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Radhe Jaya Radha Ramana Hare
Tanika Prabhu, are you
Yes,
going
Prabhuji.
to? Yes, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Abhayji, could you please be my responder?
Okay.
Thank you. Yasomadinandana Brajabaranagara Gokularanjanakana
Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagar Gokula Nanjana Nana
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana
Gopi Paranadhana Madana Manohar Kaliya Damana Vidhana
Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa
Go Amata Amina Ami Abhilasha
Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa
Amal Hari Nam Ami Abhilasha
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Vora Vamsi Vadana Suvasa
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagar Bar Bansi Badana Shubhasa
Raja Janapalana Surakula Nasana Nanda Godana Raghuvala
Brajajana Palana Asura Kulanashan Nanda Godhana Rakhwala
Govinda Madhava Navanida Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanakara Rasa Rasika Kripa Maya
Yamuna tat char gopi basan har ras rasika kripa moya
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natapara Bhakti Vinodashraya
Shri Radha Vallabha Brindavana Natavar Bhakti Vinod Ashraya
Yasamati Nandana Prajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana
Yashomati Nandana Brajavar Nagar Gokul Ranjan Kana
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manogara Kaliya Damana Vidana
Gopi Paran Dhan Madan Manohar Kaliya Damana Vidhana
Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa
अमल हरि नाम अमी अभिलाषा
Amala Harinam Ami Avilasa.
अमल हरि नाम अमी अभिलाषा
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagarabora Vamsi Vadana Suvasa.
विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर बर बंसी बदन सुबासा
Brajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Nanda Godana Gopala.
ब्रज जन पालन असुर कुल नाशन नंद गोधन रखवाला
Govindam Madhava Navanida Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala.
गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाला
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanagara Rasarasika Kripamaya.
यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हर रास रसिक कृप मोया
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natapara Bhakti Vinoda Shraya.
श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर भक्ति विनोद आश्राया
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Yasomati Nandana Brajapara Nagara Kukula Ranjana Kana.
यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natapara Bhakti Vinodra Shaya.
श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर भक्ति विनोद आश्राया
Thank you, Prabhuji. Translation. The Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yasoda, the transcendental lover in land of Braja, the delight of Gokul Kana, a nickname of Krishna. The wealth of the life of gopis, he steals the mind of even Kupit and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure holy name of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastime. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forest of Braja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lover. He always playing on a flute and is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of inhabitants of Braja, the delight of various demonic dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver and pleasure to the cow, land, and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and beautiful cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wandered along the bank of river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young themselves of Braja who were bathing there. He delighted the mellow of rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, the shelter and only refuge of Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Danika Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, how are you?
I'm okay, Maharaj. Thank you.
Are the Great Lakes really great?
And I hope so much.
We went walking with Abai along the banks of the Stones River today, and it was overflowing its banks.
Uh,
We're going to share our screen here.
Yes, Maj, you can. It's enabled.
Okay. Okay. What do you see, Nitai Gaur Sundar Das?
I see Lord Chaitanya in 5 features.
Oh, very fortunate. Everybody, please repeat. Agati eka gatim natva. Please repeat. Agati eka gatim natva. I can't hear anybody. Hinartadika sadakam.
Nartadika sadakam.
Inarthadika sadhakam.
Sri Chaitanyam likyate sya.
Sri Chaitanyam Nityasya.
Prema bhakti vadanyata.
Prema
Prema
Bhakti
Bhakti
Vadanyata.
Vadanyata.
Molayega. Somebody chant. The most fallen.
First Prabhuji.
Somebody chant and we will respond.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Inardhadika sadhakam.
Hinartikada sadakam.
Sri Chaitanyam likhyate sya.
Sri Chaitanya likyate sya.
Prema Bhakti Vadanyata.
Prema bhakti vadanyata. More, others.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Inarthadhika sadhakam.
Hinartikadika sadakam.
Sri Chaitanyam likhyate sya.
Sri Chaitanyam likyate sya.
Prema bhakti vadanyata.
Prema bhakti vadanyata. One more.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Agati eka gatim natva.
Hinartadika sadakam.
Hinartadika sadakam.
Sri Chaitanya likhete sa.
Sri Chaitanya likyate sya.
Prema bhakti vadanyat.
Prema bhakti vadanyata. Okay, translation. Krishnadas Kaviraj says, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life. For one bereft of all possessions in this material world, and is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service in love of Godhead. So we mentioned before that this chapter, Adi Lila, chapter 5, before Chaitanya Charitamrita was printed, so Prabhupada printed this as a small, paper book, like the Light of the Bhagavat, but rather more like a paper copy, paper cover. And then he also did it as a big book, the size of the Krishna book too. So I think he did, yeah. No, maybe that was the first volume. We did big Krishna book size. So it's very important. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying he's offering his obeisance to Lord Chaitanya. Of course, there's so many people. The Mormons are promoting their particular position. So many people are promoting their idea. And of course, very prominent is the idea of science, scientific rationalism, materialism. But he's offering his obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, who is the ultimate goal of people who have no material goals. Okay? And the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Because in spiritual life, we're seeking Brahman, some people. There is no inevitability as long as you are willing to contemplate the present. This is the Brahman realization. Other people, Paramatma, Okay, then there's more guidance, like even that same phrase. There's like details, ideas, perspective, intelligence. And finally, Bhagavan, God the Creator, God the Father, God these sources like that. You know? So no matter what our goal is in the spiritual life, the Chaitanya he's describing is that goal. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service and love of God. And of course, we're mentioning this point that very few incarnations even give liberation. Mostly they come and they adjust the life of sort of spiritual stuff. Well, the religious life of the demigods and us devotees, so we can engage in religious pious activities and make very slow progress and simultaneously enjoy sense gratification. Okay, and then they go away and allow us to go on again. So very few give liberation. And what to speak of actually reawakening our real constitutional position, which is eternal life with this eternal spiritual blissful body in the real world, where everybody's waiting for us. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Tanhara Charan Shrita Sebadadanya. Let me offer glorifications to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has taken shelter of his lotus feet is most glorified. Purave Gurab Adi Chaya Tatve Kaili Namaskar Guru Tattva Kahiyachi Yevi Panchara Vichar. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now I shall explain the five tattvas. Pancha tattva avatirna chaitanyera sange pancha tattva lanya karena sankirtana range. These five tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. Spiritually, there is no difference between these five tattvas, for on the transcendental platform, everything is absolute. Yet there are also varieties in the spiritual world. In order to taste these spiritual varieties, one should distinguish between them. So yes, it's a fact that we, as spiritual people, what's the word? Ahan grahopashana, you know, that we understand that we are also spiritual, you know. So contemplating on our particular nature, finding out the limits of our abilities and talents, you know, this is, you know, we're also spiritual. But then we begin to realize that it's not a matter of material distinction, you know, but it's a matter of spiritual distinction between us and Krishna. Pancha tattva makam krishnam bhakta rupa swarupakam bhakta avataram bhaktiakyam namami bhakti shaktikam. Let me offer my obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has manifested himself as five, as a devotee, expansion of a devotee, incarnation of a devotee, and pure devotee. And this is verse number 6. Okay. I think I got this here. Wait a second here. Okay, we're somewhere else. We'll go there. We'll go there. Okay. Okay. And Prabhupada says, Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the immediate expansion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his brother. He is the personal spiritual bliss of Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is transcendental and full of ecstasy in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore called Bhakta Rupa, the form of a devotee, as Nityananda is called Bhakta Swarupa, the expansion of a devotee. Nityananda Prabhu, the incarnation of a devotee, is Vishnu Tattva and belongs to the same category. There are also different types of bhaktas or devotees on the platform of neutrality, servitude, friendship, parental, and conjugal love. Devotees like Swarup Damodar Goswami, Swarup Damodar, Gadadhar, and Sri Ramananda Roy are different energies. This is confirmed in the Vedic Sutra Parasya Shakti Vividaya Shuyate. All these bhakta subjects together constitute Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. Okay. Swayam Bhagavana Krishna Ekala Ishvara Advitiya Nandatmaja Rasika Sekara. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the Supreme Controller. No one is greater than or equal to Sri Krishna, yet he appears as the son of Maharaj Nanda. Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the supreme enjoyer in the rasa dance. He is the leader of all the damsels of Braja. All others are simply his associates. Shri Krishna Avatirna, Say Krishna Chaitanya. The self-same Lord Krishna availed himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his eternal associates, who are also equally glorious. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the supreme controller, the one personality of Godhead, has ecstatically become a devotee, yet his body is transcendental and not materially tinged. Krishna Madhuryeka Abhuta Swabhava Apanea Ashvarite Krishna Kari Bhakti Bhava. Transcendental mellow of conjugal love of Krishna is so wonderful that Krishna himself accepts the form of a devotee to relish and taste it fully. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme teacher, accepts the form of a devotee and accepts Nityananda as his elder brother. Sri Advaita as the Lord's incarnation, Bhakta Avatara as a devotee. Therefore, these tattvas, Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, are the predominators or masters. One of them is Mahaprabhu, and the other two are Prabhu. These two Prabhus always serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. The three predominators, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu. Oh, Shivada Balaba, can you close your microphone there maybe? Are worshipable by all living entities. Yeah. And the fourth principle, Gadadhar, is understood to be their worshiper. There are innumerable pure devotees headed by Srivas Thakur who are known as unalloyed devotees. The devotees headed by Gadadhar are considered to be incarnations of the internal potency. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. The internal potencies are eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love. And only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. So, for example, Krishna's beautiful smile, that stimulates us, to love him. Krishna's naughty behavior stimulates us to love him. Krishna's powerful nature, all these things are stimulated, all vibhava. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of the Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst grew for it. Sri Panchatattva themselves danced again and again, thus made it easier to drink the nectarian love of Godhead. They danced and cried and laughed and chatted like a madman. In this way, they distributed love of God. In distributing love of Godhood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was a fit candidate, who was not, nor where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions. Wherever they got the opportunity, the members of the Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. Although the members of the Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity. For this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases 100 times. The flood of love of Godhead swelled in all directions, and thus young men, old men, women, and children were immersed in the inundation. Uchalila Prema Vanya Chodika Vedaya Stri Vridha Balaka Yuva Sabare Dubaya. The Krishna consciousness movement will inundate the entire world and drown everyone, whether one be a Greek gentleman, a rogue, or even lame, invalid, or blind. When the 5 members of the Panchatattva saw the entire world drowned in love of Godhead and the seed of material enjoyment in the living entities completely destroyed, they became exceedingly happy. The more the members of the Panchatattva cause the rain of love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases and spreads all over the world. The impersonalists, fruity workers, false logicians, blasphemers, non-devotees, and the lowest amongst the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna consciousness movement, and therefore the inundation of Krishna consciousness cannot touch them. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped. Therefore I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Eta Bali Manikichu Koriya Vichar Sanyasa Ashram Prabhu Kwaili Angikar. Thus the Lord accepted the sannyas order of life after full consideration. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in householder life for 24 years. On the verge of his 25th year, I accepted the sannyas order. After accepting the sannyas order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attracted the attention of all those who had evaded him, beginning with the logicians. Thus the students, infidels, fruity workers, critics, all came to surrender under the lotus feet of the Lord. Paduva, Pashandi, Karmi, Nindakari. Lord Chaitanya excused them all, and they merged into the ocean of devotional service. For no one can escape the unique loving network of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. All were converted into devotees of Lord Chaitanya, even the Malechas and Yavanas. Only the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya evaded him. Vrindavana yaite Prabhu rahila kashite mayavadi ganatandre lagila nindite. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan, the Mayavadi sannyasi philosophers blasphemed against him in many ways. So now it starts a whole detailed description of how Lord Chaitanya converted Prakashananda Saraswati and all of his Mayavadi philosophers into becoming ecstatic bhaktas. Yeah. And of course, these are all examples. Lord Chaitanya is showing how anybody can do this if you just take shelter of the previous Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and Lord Nityananda. And we can all do these wonderful things like that. You know? So, in the beginning, then there's one nice purport, 7.4, which talks about preaching. There it is. Okay. Pancha Tattva Avatirna Chaitanyara Sange Pancha Tattva Lanya Karena Sankirtana Range. These 5 tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. Okay, purport. And here we have it. Okay. Radhe Radhe. Everybody please repeat with your microphones closed. Krishna Varnam Twisha Krishnam. Krishna Varnam Twisha Krishnam. Sango Pangashta Parshadam. Sango Pangashta Parshadam. Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer. Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer. Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. In the age of Kali, people who are in translation. In the age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence, yes, will worship with Sumeda Saha, Sumeda Saha. Endowed with sufficient intelligence, will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, Sango Pangashta Parshada, by performing the Sankirtan Yagna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied, Srila Prabhupada says, by his plenary expansion, Sri Nityananda Prabhu. His incarnation, Sri Advaita Prabhu, his internal potency, Sri Gadadhar Pandit, and his marginal potency, Srivas Pandit. He is in the midst of them as the supreme personality of Godhead. One should know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by the other tattvas. Therefore, our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are complete when we say, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. As preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement, we first offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting this Panchatattva mantra. Then we say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are 10 offenses in chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but these are not considered in chanting of the Panchatattva mantra. Namely, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudha Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda includes Srila Prabhupada. No, he's a Gaura Bhakta. He's a Gaura Bhakta. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Mahavaranyaya Avatara, the most magnanimous incarnation, for he does not consider the offenses of the fallen souls. Thus, to derive the full benefit of chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You must first take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learn the Panchatattva Maha Mantra, and then chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That will be very effective. Taking advantage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many unscrupulous devotees manufacture a Maha Mantra of their own. Sometimes they sing, Bhaja Nittai Gaura Radhe Sham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Or Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Shri Radhe Govinda. However, one should chant the names of the full Panchatattva, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And then the 16 words, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But these unscrupulous, less intelligent men confuse the entire process. Of course, since they are also devotees, they can express their feelings in that way. But the method prescribed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pure devotees is to first chant the full Panchatattva Maha Mantra and then chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So I always liked this chapter. It's so nice. Then later it will describe when he met Prakashananda Saraswati and all of his disciples. He then, took a place near where everybody washed their feet, but he manifested his Brahman effulgence. And since the Mayavadi Shankarites saw worshiping Brahman, when they saw this beautiful effulgence, they were attracted. So I think it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, Prakashananda person who came and took Lord Chaitanya's hand and said, Your Holiness, why are you sitting in this dirty place? Come and sit with us. And Lord Chaitanya said, oh, I'm an inferior sannyasi, like that, so on. So then he turned their minds with sweet words. They're already opposed to us. And if we simply make them angry, what's the use? Prabhupada says. So first, turn their minds by showing our Brahman effulgence, showing our smile, performing nice kirtan. Prabhupada says every devotee who follows the regulative principle has these three things: a nice effulgence, a nice smile, a nice kirtan. And then he turned their minds by that. So then they said, okay, well, please tell us, what is your idea? And then he would made a very, very nice detailed description for them of the position of Shankaracharya, the position of Vedanta Sutra, and finally conclusion of Krishna as a person. Then they all became engaged in Sankirtan and joined the Sankirtan movement. And Lord Chaitanya explained more and more about how he was not qualified to study Vedanta. He was too low class. And so his spiritual master gave him this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, from Bhagavatam, which says that those who are actually advanced in devotional service, they engage in chanting the glories of the Lord and singing and dancing like madmen, not caring about outsiders. And he said, that's what happened to me. So now I always chant following the order of my spiritual master. And then they said, again, well, okay, we don't oppose to that being a devotee of Krishna, but why don't you study Vedanta like this, And why you avoid, so that's kind of what happens in the rest of this chapter. So any comments or questions? Gaur Purnima is coming right up, and it's a wonderful opportunity. We go around on the circle, and then once a year we get the opportunity of taking advantage of Gaur Purnima to make eternal progress in our spiritual life. Eternal purification. Who do we have here?
Maharaj, you started off the first verse said that you have to be Gichan Gochar to be, that what we studying in Kunti's prayer. How we can, then Mahaprabhu came to give us this to everybody. So how we can be a Kinchan Gochar and also follow with, how can we follow Lord Chaitanya without being a Kinchan Gochar?
Oh, okay. Do you own your family members? Do you demand they serve you and satisfy you?
No, Maharaj, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If I want, it's not going to happen.
There you go. But you see so many people, they have, some kind of crazy ideas like this, and then and everybody is pretending to serve everybody else or else they're serving other people because they want service. It's just what we call mutual exploitation. Cheaters and cheated. So that's the principle. It's this yukta vairagya, nirbandhe, Krishna sambandhe, yukta vairagya uchite. That I won't. Everyone likes to eat. Okay, so I offer is all to you. And of course, in the beginning, we have some attachment. I'll offer you things that I want to eat. But later on, we think, what does Krishna want to eat? And we just somehow or other, we're just happy to take the remnants, and quite magically, we become even healthier and more satisfied just by eating what Krishna wants to eat. That's just been basic principle. Then it goes on and on like that. Why am I making money? Okay, well, for Krishna's service. Why are you taking care of the family? Because they have opportunity to become devotees, because there are devotees. So is that kind of what you're talking about? How we have no possessions in this world? Because we give them all to Krishna. Again, Arjuna became a complete renunciate, and when he renounced everything, Krishna said, "Okay, now fight." But he was no longer fighting on behalf of, Draupadi and Yudhisthira. Now he was fighting on behalf of Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, and of course it's mixed. Now different things happen through life, and maybe more than one lifetime. Yeah, maybe a lot of them are within the last week before we die. Yeah, see examples, and to purify our surrender to Krishna. We're hanging on to one thing, maybe. Yeah. So, दूसरे प्रश्न है? Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Amrita Chandra.
No other question for Maharaj? There's something. I discussed so many things.
I'm going to look into your house and see everything. I'm going to see what's in the refrigerator. Yeah. Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya. I memorized that verse when I was a brahmachari. Krishna Madhurya Eka Abhuta Swabhava Apane Ashvarite Krishna Karya Bhakti Bhava. So we're really focusing on making a movie now. Maybe somehow or other we'll do the work to. Last time we have a NEOS meeting, you know, and we can do the kind of formality work there. But basically, we're organizing. We've done we did 2 regular PowerPoint shows, and did it on, you know, we recorded on GoToMeeting on interfaith dialogue. Of course, we had a lot of that right there in Murfreesboro, and we could even discuss that as part of the movie when people do some interviews with people like that. And then our director says, give me lots of interviews and we can edit them, put them together in a cohesive form like that. Then after that, we went to the Bhaktivedanta library, which books are there and how they're organized, PowerPoint show. And then we went to how to read the books, you know, basically in nice perspective. And now next we'll start Science in the Vedas, which we've done so much of that. And the idea is to make the basic presentation from our side and then see who responds from different perspectives and then develop it in terms of dialogues. And then after that, we have world classical literature, Hamlet and Arjuna. And maybe then it's a little bit more, but that's basically, if you get all that going, that'll kind of cover the research work and the work we've been able to do. One time, Jayapataka Maharaj said, he said, Hanumaprashak Swami is doing such pioneering work. Okay. Just all of us pioneering this movement, you know, expanding it at different times. When Lord Chaitanya was preaching, it was a certain atmosphere. When Bhaktisiddhanta was preaching, it was a certain atmosphere. You know, he contributed something. And now the pandemic goes on, we'll be reduced back down to living much more locally. And maybe there'll be one television set, you know, 2 days journey from where we live. And other than that, it'll be okay. Everybody's in touch with everybody else. You know, some people have mystical yogic powers. We can start growing piezoelectric crystals in our pineal glands and the brahmanas, so they can communicate if they have to in their esoteric fashion. So the world may change, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is here for 10,000 years. It says that in the purport. And we should all, one time John Lennon, apparently, he asked Prabhupada, he was apparently intoxicated, as I've heard the story. And he said, hey, Swami, what makes somebody a guru? Because he was kind of opposed to that idea, you know. What makes somebody a guru? And Prabhupada looked at him very seriously and said, a guru is somebody who takes large, regular doses of spiritual intoxication. And so if we're doing this, you know, and then we'd be able to share it with other people wherever we go. Abai and I went walking on along the river today. You know, almost nobody there that time of day, but a few people. It was so beautiful and just, you know, mysterious. And I met people there just walking along like that, just dressed like a devotee or something, you know. So any comments then? Anybody here? We have Kiran, Darshana, Rani, Vivek, Mona, Amit. Yeah. Manjari Singh is in ecstasy. She just sits there and smiles and smiles, doesn't say anything. It's in her picture. Like that. She hasn't blinked one time this whole session so far. Like that. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. Oh my God, there she is. Oh, she popped in for 1 second. Yeah. She's rolling on the ground. She's rolling on the ground in ecstasy. All right. My gosh, she had different forms. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all very much. I guess we turn control to the control panel to Chicago. Chicago, you are flying the ship.
Okay, so Amit, is Ridhima and Hannah ready for the singer prayer?
Namaste Narasingaya Pranadiladidaine Pranadiladidaine Hiranyakashipu Vaksha Hiranyakashipu Vaksha Shiratankanakalaya Itana Singa Paratana Singa Itana Singa Paratana Singa Yata Yata Yami Tatana Singa Yata Yata Yami Tatana Singa Bahina Singa Ridayena Singa Bahina Singa Ridayena Singa Narasinga Madim Sharina Prapade Narasinga Madim Sharina Prapade Tava Karita Malavai Naka Shinga Damita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Kare Kamalavani Nakamaputta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadita Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsimhadev 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 Jaya Pranavara 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nrsimha Bhagwan ki Jai Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Thank you, Anna and Ridhima. So tomorrow we go back to 8 o'clock. We'll continue our discussion. Prayers of Queen Kunti. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Narayan family मध्ये
Vanchakal
Oh, Vaishnav Pranam. Yes, sorry. Thank you.
Vanchakल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण
Krishna
Hare Krishna